Hello, I'm RetroJules. Welcome to update 4.4, Reap the Spoils of War. Quite a lot of points to get through in this update. We're going to get a new War Stories campaign, a new map variant, a new hero tank, crew portraits, battle tiering and map availability adjustments. The King Dragon Type 59 gets buffed. The base capture icons get revamped. Maps get removed. And then there's the usual bug fixes and tweaks. So the update is called Reap the Spoils of War. Reap the Spoils of War is the new trilogy of war stories known collectively as the Spoils of War. And it pits a trio of German, American and Soviet heroes against a reality where World War II never ended. The year is 1948. And I don't know if you're into war stories, but also a special feature in these maps are going to be the defence towers, which are AI controlled defence towers that will actually engage you and try and take you out. So not only are you going to be contending with AI tanks, you're going to have gun placements too to be thinking about. So that's something a bit different and something a bit new. We're going to get a new map variant, Prokhorovka in the winter. I love Prokhorovka, one of my favourite scouting maps. And you kind of think, well, they're just going to cover it in snow, it's going to kind of look the same, but actually it's not really the case. The introduction of this new winter map variant is going to hide a few secrets that aren't accessible in the map's original form. With the onset of winter, Prokhorovka's rivers and ponds are frozen over, and this opens up more accessible routes, more places to take cover, and more opportunities to plan and carry out new strategies without sacrificing your tank's mobility. So it does sound interesting that actually this map could and should play slightly differently. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. We get a new premium tier 8 hero tank, a Soviet tank, the Scourge Kirovets #1 Soviet tier 8 heavy tank. And crew portraits. I've not seen this in the game, but I kind of get the impression that you're going to get templates for American crews, Chinese, French, Japanese, etc, etc, and I get the impression from the pictures that I'm showing you that you're going to be able to just sort of take any face and sort of slot it into the template and make your crew commander look however you want them to look within the choices that you have. Battle tiering and availability. I quite like the sound of this one. They are, well, let me read it out. With update 4.4, battles can take place in 11 possible battle tiers, not tank tiers, remember. Each vehicle, depending on a number of factors including its performance and vehicle tier, will fall in a certain range of battle tiers to fight in. While the garage doesn't display battle tiers, you can see the maximum vehicle tier your selected vehicle will meet in battle. With update 4.4, World of Tanks have made adjustments to battle tiers and when maps and game modes become available to improve the learning and playing experience for new players. Maps and game modes will be rolled out gradually as players progress in the game, with all maps becoming available at battle tier 7. This will give players more time to focus on learning how to handle the vehicles and less time trying to learn about the large maps, and I think that is a great idea. And then the King Dragon Type 59, if you've got that tank, it's going to get a buff. The Crimson Monsters gun has been given a fiery upgrade to a modified version of the 105mm and packs a devastating 390 average damage, and not only that, they've reworked the actual gun stats to give it better penetration and accuracy. Visually, however, the gun will look exactly the same. I mean, after all, you probably didn't buy this tank because of its performance, you probably fell in love with the way it looked and loved having a dragon's net as a cannon. The base capture revamp They've changed the icons, and I'm going to bring them up on screen for you now. So normally when the base is being captured, you've got the white line, and it's either red or green, progresses along the line depending on who's capturing the base. Well, that line has disappeared now, and it's actually going to be replaced by a circular icon, and you will see your green or red colour slowly circulating around the map to show that the base is being captured. So that's going to give you a little bit more screen and just a nice minimalisation on the head-up display. So the good news was that we got Prokhorovka Winter as a map variant. The bad-ish news is we lose 5 maps in place. Now they're saying the maps are going to be removed temporarily due to update size limitations, and they will be rotated back in a later date. World of Tanks have been good to their word on this, and older maps have come back. Not all the old maps ever came back, so who knows which maps will return. Redshire 1944 will be removed. Northwest, Windstorm, Tundra, and Tundra Winter. So we gain 1 map and we lose 5. Not overly happy about that. And then finally, there are various bug fixes and tweaks which I'll have scrolling up the screen as I speak. It's always nice to see an update come through. It's always good to know that the console edition of the game is constantly being improved and tweaked and added to. The new War Stories campaign, for me, I don't play War Story. I've played a few of them. I got a bit bored with them. For me, the tank game is about meeting 30 people online and trying to take 15 of them out. The new map variant, quite happy to see a new version of Prokhorovka. I really do like Prokhorovka as a map. Not happy about losing 5 instead of that. I'm really sort of quite sad about losing Redshire 1944. I really like Redshire, and Redshire 1944 was just different enough with the castle to the west to make gameplay slightly different. I do like the northwest map. Windstorm, not overly bothered about. Tundra is just, I think that's too small a map, especially at the higher tiers, both versions of that. But I don't think gaining Prokhorovka Winter is perhaps worth losing those. I would like to have seen Ensk disappear. I would like to have seen some versions of Himmelsdorf disappear. I think map variants do work and give us some variation, but there's no better variation than a completely different map to play on. And the new crew portraits, well, that's kind of, I always say I'm neither here nor there about these customization things. This is going to give you the opportunity to take any of the faces and kind of make them the nationality and put them in the uniform for your tank. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm not really bothered about that. And yet, when tank crews came in, I ended up filling my tanks full of very pretty ladies. So I probably say it doesn't bother me now, but actually I'll probably end up having a right old play with it. And the base capture revamp. Do you know what? I'm not sure about this one because I haven't seen this in the game, and I'm just wondering whether the actual circular icon will be a lot less obvious visually as a long line. So when the enemy are capping, you would watch that line and watch the time tick down, and I'm just wondering if perhaps a small circle is going to be a little less obvious to keep an eye on. Will be interesting, but it's always nice to have more of the screen freed up for the actual game itself. And then the battle tiering and map availability, I think that is a brilliant idea. I'm really hoping this game is still attracting new people, and you don't want too much too soon. I remember when I started playing this game at tier 1, all you got was province, and I played that back to back for hours and hours a day and just got to know how the mechanics of the game worked and obviously got to know that map very well, and that really worked for me. But I did jump in a few months ago just for a bit of fun to play a tier 1 tank, and I ended up on Malinovka, And I thought, Malinovka is way too big a map for these sort of tanks, and now Malinovka's not available until Battle Tier 5. So I think that's a really good idea to try and ease people into the game, and we really do need people to get the hang of their tanks, because I do believe that people tend to work up the tiers perhaps a little bit too quickly and don't necessarily quite have a complete grasp on the game to get to the higher tiers. Well, I hope you enjoyed update 4.4 Spoils of War. And just before I go, I want to say well done Wargaming, you listened to us, and thank you very much for actually telling us this time that you will be removing some of the maps and which ones they are. Keep safe, keep tanking, and I'll see you soon.